Christine Fernyhough, committed to making sure the kids' gifts don't get wasted.
Now, if you leave that to melt down, you lose an enormous lot of potential.
Christine Fernyhough is very definitely from the other side of the tracks from many of the children in the program. But she uses her influence, even her dining table, to sell the value of special classes for special youngsters. Then she'll get her own hands dirty, setting up the barbecue at the Tamaki Intermediate School to enthuse the gifted kids and their parents about the year ahead. The youngsters who attend the program here are not all from less privileged areas, and some families are paying their own way.
How's it going? You got it up and going and working? It looks like they know what they're doing. Yeah, these guys do.
Here's the plan. The kids, identified in a number of schools as having the potential to be really stretched and able to think outside the box, are pulled together in selected locations for one day of every school week.
And you come back up round the river and down to Camp 2 again. My name is Kalisiana Mbuli Roroa, and I want to be a doctor.
Some kids, like Kalisiana, are from families of very modest means. What kind of a difference do you think that it makes to your life?
It makes me feel like my work matters.
She's 11 years old and figuring out already where her future lies.
The brain has 3 parts. The cerebrum, it's the biggest part of your brain.
A taste for a career in medicine, inspired by a pretty impressive GKP project.
And then there's the cerebellum. It's near the back of your brain.
What do you notice about her? What's different about her now that she's in the Gifted Kids program?
It's really helped her a lot, yeah. You know, before she used to come home with maybe a bit difficult tasks, you know. And but now she, you know, she it's a challenge. She accepts it as a challenge, yeah.
And what do you notice about your sister since she's been in the program?
She's not always shy, and she's smarter now.
It's about this girl and she feels trapped being Jewish, and
it's really all about learning environment.
I'm in love with this Christian.
Here at Gifted Kids, the once-a-week high-intensity exposure is to things like games of chess, problem-solving par excellence, and analysing current world events from a creative standpoint. Do parents appreciate what's happening here? Well, ask someone like Kim Rooker. Having Ashley and Evelyn sponsored with generous donations into the GKP program here in the heart of Tamaki.
Tamaki Primary is right in the middle of GI, and that's where I was brought up. And there was nothing for us like this. I was quite bright at school, but in our family it wasn't very, I don't know, you...
Wasn't cool to be cool to be bright?
Yeah. You're a smart ass and shut up and, you know, don't try and show up your sisters or your friends or anything. So.
And you were determined your kids weren't going to...
Oh, definitely. No way they're going to go through that.
The Gifted Kids program in Whangarei is set to change the lives of some kids. On day one, Christine Fernyhough saw the potential in youngsters like Levi Cotton. Extremely shy, but taking on the job of greeting the crowd at the official opening of the GKP room at Tikipanga Primary.
Some of the kids who cause the most trouble in our schools and the most trouble for their parents, I can see a couple of guilty smiles already, are the talented kids who are bored. We're not going to succeed as a country if we don't use the talent we've got.
Well done. Fantastic, sweetie. Really proud of you. Wonderful addition to our class.
What did you notice when Levi first started coming home from this program in terms of how different he was, how it had stretched him, what he was saying? What did you notice?
Well, I noticed that I couldn't understand what he was talking about.
Is that right?
That was the first thing I noticed. I was looking, going like, oh, hang on, son, I'll just go into the dictionary and have a look what you're saying.
Is that right?
Yeah. So that was one big notice. And
now that's a big quantum leap, right?
Yes.
Because you're no slug.
No. And the thing is, you know, it was neat because finally he was with people, with people who was sort of on his level.
Was it Tuesday you had your first day? Was it good? Yeah. I bet you wish you could come every day. We find that just as frustrating as you, only having you one day a week.
The timing of being made to feel special is sometimes very poignant. Just days after we took these pictures, the children from the Cotton family were involved in an awful tragedy. The car in which Levi, his brothers and his sister Nikisha were travelling with their aunt collided with another vehicle north of Whangarei. Nikisha was killed. Keaton suffered serious spinal injuries. Levi was knocked about but survived relatively unscathed. The family wanted to continue with the program we were making, and in recent weeks, Levi has started back at school. But at the moment, the Gifted Kids program, one day a week, is all he really feels like attending.
Yeah, 9 weeks since the accident. He still only attends the gifted school. He comes home and he gives us a lift because he, you know, that's where he feels comfortable.
So
you know what I mean? It's where he feels comfortable, going to the Gifted Kids school.
What's the best thing that you've ever done in that class, the thing that's brought you the most satisfaction?
Experimentation. Doing all the experiments. Because they're fun to do.
Experimenting? It's pretty stretching?
Yeah.
So it's gingerly back to normality for a 10-year-old who's had to shoulder a huge emotional burden. Back at Gifted Kids seems like just the right place for Levi. Today's challenge: design, make and evaluate a raincoat made from just 6 plastic shopping bags. How does it feel in there, buddy?
Oh, it feels warm.
Yeah?
Yep.
You be ready to go out in a Force 12 gale and that?
No. Oh, no, wait. Put your hood on there.
Not bad, all things considered, for a program held together by trusts, private funding and sheer hard work.
So what sea runs up the west coast?
Christine Fernyhough is a passionate advocate for expanding this work. And when you press her buttons, stories of sheer delight come tumbling out.
That's Mr. Harrison. One mother came up to us and said, my girl is 10 and she's never been called up on the telephone and she's never been asked to a birthday party until she's come to Gifted Kids. And she said, my heart used to bleed for her. And now, here she is. She's off to a party, she's getting called, she's got like-minded people, she's debating, she's problem-solving, she's just feeling like she's normal. Yeah!
The question most often asked, of course, if this concept has such huge potential, why aren't there more Gifted Kids classes all round the country? After all, principals are champing at the bit to get on board. And the other big query, why isn't this coming out of the general education budget? Some might think it a bit rich that Trevor Mallard gets to turn up at privately funded education initiatives. Although he says he doesn't have all the funding answers just yet, he's impressed.
It means that 30 kids who are really talented will be stretched. I think they'll be good examples for other kids. And I think we can make a real difference to Whangarei. I think it's fair to say that a lot of persistent people can stretch us, but no, Christine is so nice as she puts the pressure on that no one will complain, especially while she's listening.
And Ashley? Oh, he's got Isaac Newton. A full-time gifted school is just well overdue. How could New Zealand could have avoided taking its top 5 or 10% talent and leaving it in mainstream classrooms where teachers try enormously hard to give them what these kids deserve, and particularly in the lower decile schools where there's so many at-risk kids.
When I grow up, I want to be a computer technician.
And a special mention for Levi Cotton, who you saw in that story a couple of seconds ago. Levi is 11 tomorrow. Happy birthday, man. Hope you have a good day. And as for Christine Fernyhough, she tells us she is now working with the Ministry of Education to set up a full-time school for the Gifted Kids program.
And off you go, fellas. Action.
Next on Sunday, the Kiwi-born Hollywood hitmaker who's trading fine films for fine wine. That's next.
Than some other people.
I can always remember my uncle telling me, when the cloud and the mist covers our local mountain, Maungatere, there will always be rain to follow.
Meridian Energy proudly brings you this one